All right, I'm going to get everybody to take a seat. And if you're watching us through the miracle of the internet, take a seat in your living room. Am I on? Okay. All right. So I'm going to pray us in, and I'm going to turn it over to our board president, Chuck. So if everybody just takes a seat, and we just take a moment. We take a breath and set aside all that's come before. We acknowledge all the good that was here, all the joy that we experienced on our Sunday service, and we just let that go and allow ourselves to be present here, now, for this moment. We remind ourselves of our agreements of how we behave with each other, that we're all divine people doing the best we can. And knowing and affirming the good manifesting in our lives right here, right now, we are grateful. And as we open ourselves up to this meeting, the comments we have, the questions we have, we know and affirm that as a community, we move forward together. And it is from that togetherness, that collaboration, that community, that we are grateful as we continue to move forward and transform not only ourselves, but the world through love. And so it is. Amen. And without further ado, and he shall need no introduction, Chuck Fullner.
When is the next one of these scheduled? I have no idea. I have no idea. Okay. I don't have any idea. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for sticking around. It's always great to see a wonderful crowd of people who are interested in what's going on, and perhaps just as much in participating. Volunteering, Mark. So things of that nature. I wanted to introduce a few of the current board members who are here this afternoon. William Driscoll. William, would you just raise your hand? Okay. Dave Freilich, who is also our treasurer and serves on the board. And Jackie Salzman, who is our vice president and served on the board. And in the back, Jeannie, would you raise your hand? Jeannie Beckner? Yes. The most famous woman in all of Unity of Louisville. Okay, so there we go. Our format is we like to just bring everybody up to date and then open the floor up for questions. If you have questions, please approach one of these two microphones and just state your name. The reason for that is we're recording this for future use and training. It's not going into any minutes, but this is just information that other people might want to hear. As I mentioned earlier, we started off where the sellers wanted $2,250,000, and at the end of the day, on Thursday, everybody agreed to was a price of $2,057,500. The difference, I'd like to tell you that all of that was due to magnificent negotiation on our part, mostly Ray, but we got it down to 2-1, and then they gave us some credits for some issues that we had to take care of in the building. The building is going to need a couple of HVAC units. It's going to need some minor roof repair, and in one area we're going to end up doing a little bit of re-roofing work. Before I go any further, I would like to ask all of you to help me in thanking Gary Haynes, who has taken the leadership in this whole process. Gary was the first person to suggest we might want to take a look at that building at 3728 Taylorsville Road, and he also, throughout this entire due diligence process, has taken the lead in identifying potential vendors for doing the things that we want to do and the things that we have to do. And he's done that despite coming up for surgery and all that other fun stuff. So thank you, Gary. You've been immeasurably helpful. And without you, we couldn't have done this. So that's kind of where we are. The purchase agreement's been signed. We have a certain amount of time to get the financing completed. Mark Helm has been taking the lead on that. I've been helping him. We are talking to an Indiana institution called Mid-Southern Bank. They're based out of Salem. Mark has used them in the past and was familiar with them. So there are a few things we have to get wrapped up to make that whole deal work. So Mark and I are working on that right now. One of the things we will be needing to do is to move the investment portfolio we have, the Unity of Louisville Foundation, to their bank. Not all of it, but most of it, as well as income coming in from the Generosity Foundation. We've had over $54,000 come in to through the Generosity Foundation so far, which is significant, and there's more that's on the way in the not too distant future. Some of that went back to the Unity Foundation because the Unity Foundation fronted a lot of the expenses we've had during this process. So if you are in a position to accelerate your giving to the Unity, not to the Unity Foundation, to the Generosity Initiative, even just a little bit, that will help us in finalizing our arrangements to borrow the money that we need to borrow. For those of you who are more into the financial side, we are using that building and this building as collateral. We'll have to go through the process of getting an appraisal on that building. That one's more important. But we're moving ahead by using both of those. Then once this building is sold, a substantial portion of the funds from this building will be used to pay down and probably change the nature of the mortgage we have. And then at the same time, some of that money, depending on what we negotiate with the bank, will go into the Unity Foundation. Regarding the sale of this building, we have a letter of intent with the Christy Love Foundation to purchase the building. Christy Love Foundation, as some of you, as you may or may not know, is a local nonprofit organization founded by a woman whose first name is Angela. I don't even know her last name. And she is doing everything she can to help people break out of the cycle of prostitution, drug addiction, and out of the whole human traffic cycle that happens here in Louisville. It is a significant problem. The name Christy Love was her street name when she herself was working the streets. The man who controlled her life gave her that name. Now she's turning that name into good, and she already uses 2 houses in Portland for housing for some of the girls that she's trying to help. Coming here would be a major boon to them. This location for us is a bug, for them it's a feature, because she's going to do everything she can to help the girls who are being held by Salvation Army. She's going to offer training. She'll offer a place to live while people are making a transition from that life into a better life. And I'm certain that we will find a way over time to support them either spiritually or through monetary donations. So that's kind of where we are. There are some things that we are doing to prepare for the move. Jeannie is heading up. Jeannie and her daughter Kim are heading up a group that will begin to identify ways that we can use that property to generate fee income, to generate rentals. Our goal, I haven't told her the exact number yet, but I'll announce it so she can faint. I'd like to get us to the point where we are raising $100,000 a year towards through outside sources, not through Sunday donations, but through outside sources. And initially, we'll be close to that because we're renting out the daycare center. We're renting space to the daycare center, and we're renting space to the current occupants, the current church, but that's going to go away over time. So we need to replace that and grow that. It is, and Jeannie has told me those kinds of numbers are ridiculous. We need to be thinking about larger numbers, greater than 20% of our operating expenses. So, but that's the first one. Churches of our size, nature, and demographics tend to try to raise that kind of money from other sources. And I believe we can do that at that location in a way that we could never do here. That's one of the reasons for making the change. if you have ideas about how to use that space, or if you would just simply like to volunteer on that committee, please see Jeannie. It's an important part of what we're going to do, and I think there are marvelous opportunities for us. Ray's already reaching out to some other ministers who are looking for a place to house their church. We might have church 24/7 for 2 days a week, or 24 hours a day, 2 days a week out there. Who knows? And I'm certain it'll be fun, and the roof will be raised. So that's kind of where we are. We're in transition. We've got the contract signed and ready to move. We're in the process of nailing down the financing. And the other thing the board is doing is we're beginning to identify all those different committees we're going to need to have in place once we make this change. One of them being the committee to help us rent out space. We're going to need an ops person out there, somebody so that doesn't all fall on Val and Ray to manage the property. But we're going to need a committee of people beyond just the financing folks, or not the financing, the folks who've been helping here to do repairs. We're going to need more of that. So I'm excited. I hope you are. And it's just going to be a time for us to say goodbye in early September. We've been here for, 60-some years, and we've outgrown it. It's as simple as that. So it's time for us to move on and to be thankful for everything we've had here and to be thankful for everything that we will have there. That's all I have to say. Any of the other board members want to add anything to that? Okay. Questions? If you have questions, come on up to either of these. Hello, Melvin. The price for the building that we're buying? Oh, for this, I'm sorry, for this one, we're negotiating around $800,000. That'll move up and down as we complete that negotiation. Yes, up would be good, but that's about where we are headed. It might drop to 7, but I don't think it'll drop below that. There's a young lady whom I will introduce to you all at some point, who has been acting as our representative in the purchase process, and also is our chief commercial agent in the sale of this building. Her name is Charlotte Holkamp, and she's gone above and beyond what any one agent should in trying to get a property done. She has been working her tail off with the Christy Love Foundation to help them work on getting grants, and she's helping them prepare everything that they'll need to get their financing. So she's probably volunteering 10 hours a week for them to make this arrangement work for us. And it would be worthy of saying thank you to her when you get the chance, and we'll make sure that you get that chance. Ray, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we open up for questions? Okay. Questions? Boy, this is scary. Yes.
And this is just to thank you. We thank the board. I get thanked all the time. Valerie gets thanked all the time. But to thank you, because in reality, the congregation is the one who made the choice, who said yes. They said yes not only to, it was a big, I want you to take that in. I love Jerry's idea. Can you imagine? Just imagine your attachment to this beautiful sanctuary, your attachment to this building, all that's been here. And yet you collectively, not universally, but even the no's were like, we'll follow you wherever you go. They just like the space. And it was only 15 people said no. So it was collectively you bought into and created a vision for that's beyond anything that I think when I got here we could have ever envisioned. There's this pull that I'm in awe of that is pulling us forward, which always gives me hope, but fills my heart with gratitude because, without you, it's just there's just too much work to be done, and yet it doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels like this is what we're called to do, which is to create this together. And what it's going to look like, I don't know yet. The end. I just got contacted by a Sufi organization that wants to start doing ceremonies and the words and there's people I don't even know how they know me and are calling me on the phone. So there's something going on here. So I just want to appreciate you all instead of us all. So thank you.
Z? Okay.
Hello, family. I'm so glad to see you. I have to tell you that Hello? Hello, family. How are you? I'm trying not to be silent. That's not my forte. But last summer, when they talked about Melbourne Heights, I drove around it, and I felt this wonderful feeling. And then when we got in, I could just feel the spirit of love and peace in that place. It was palpable. Needless to say, I ran into Margot. Sorry, Margot, I didn't ask about this, but I ran into Margot while we were exercising, and I was saying, I don't like to go downtown anymore. I just want to go into the new church. She said, when I go there, I feel like this. But when I go to Melbourne, I feel like this. And this is what we're going to do. Woohoo!
Zelda came up with what might be the best marketing line for the new locations when she remarked after she saw it for the first time, and their bathrooms are nice too. Okay. Todd?
Yeah, I wonder what conversations we've had or thoughts we might have when we get to the new place or in anticipation of getting there to get the word out that we are there, and to welcome the community.
I don't know exactly sitting here right now or standing here right now. I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but the board is working on a plan for that purpose, and that's one of the things that Jeannie's team will be handling. The thought is that at least initially, we're going to make sure everybody in our congregation knows, and then we're going to reach out beyond that, not only to the people that live in 40220 and the surrounding zip codes, but to other congregations as well. So some thinking has been done, some planning is going on, and Ray's going to give you a better answer.
Well, and it's not a better answer because, we're thinking about and I was doing a little bit of dialoguing with Phil and Valerie last night. One of the things I'm thinking we might do is wait for a few weeks to get our bugs worked out, to get in, know where these nice smelling bathrooms are, so when we invite the community and we can tell them where they are. Because right now it's a different maze than I am. But probably we'll start with celebrating us in the community and then have a big grand opening, inviting in dignitaries, cutting ribbons. I like Pinky Jackson says a multicolored ribbon, which would be kind of our subtle, GLBTQ. Probably more towards October where we get a chance to work some bugs out and know what we're doing so that when we invite people in and make it a big all-day celebration cookout kind of thing, we're doing it instead of we don't know what we're doing either, but welcome, come on in, because that can be fun, but maybe not the most inviting. So that's where my thinking is right at the moment.
There is a separate subcommittee of the board right now that is putting together a plan for the Montessori school. They're going to give us a first-year budget, a cash flow statement, and at that point, if we can make that work, then we'll get started on that as well. So that's one of the other initiatives that will happen. We don't know that we'll get that many new members into the church through a Montessori school, but we can have a dramatic impact on the students in that school, many of whom I think will come from the current daycare center and from that community at large. There are a number of our members who live in 40220, but that larger community, if you ever get a chance to go to the nearest Kroger stores, you will see somebody that looks like you. Because it is, I know I've said this in the past, it is a doppelganger for greater metropolitan Louisville. The demographic statistics match, in that zip code, match everything, the entire community here. In fact, the only subgroup that you don't see in 40220 are the Vietnamese Catholic families who have gathered around their church, St. John Vianney, in the South End. Everybody else in Louisville is there, and you'll see them. So we have an opportunity to grow our church and to make it an inclusive, diverse church of people who, I think, once they hear our message, will come calling, because the universe will be calling them as well as us. Other questions? Kevin. Keith. I'll get it straight eventually. Sorry, Keith.
Yeah, my name is Keith. I've been with the church for a long time. But for what Reverend Ray and Chuck over here have been saying about the new place, I haven't really seen it, so I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to bring this out here to the congregation. I'm going to get married, but I'm going to wait until we do the move, so Reverend Ray and Miss Valerie could marry us. I'm not going to have it done here. I'd rather have it done out there. But y'all know me. I've been through this with Susan. I mean, I've been here at least 16 years. And, you know, it's time for me to move on. It's time for me to settle down. Yeah, my sweetheart to be is, I mean, she's one in a million. I don't know if God put her there or if my heavenly Father put her there, but you know, she's been in my life for a while, for about 4 or 5 months. But I'm happy, I'm excited about this move, and I know Chuck is, and when I get my stuff, my finances secure and stuff, I'm take care of donating some money to these people that have been looking out for me over the years. I know James and Miss Lady back there, she's a good lady. But I'm excited, and I love this place, but we need to have more. And I was going to bring this to Reverend Ray. When we go to have that ceremony, put a big banner up there. Welcome to the new neighbors and all. I mean,
Yes.
that's something, you know, you all can use, because I used to do stuff like that. The church I had one time, I was over in 22nd at Muhammad Ali. Nah, I don't know where I got that from.
We'll get you a new one.
Yeah, I need a new one for when you all do the unity thing. I need one because.
Okay.
Thanks, Chuck. I
Thank
thank
you.
the congregation for all their good deeds and everything they're doing for this move over here. And Reverend Ray, I want to acknowledge him, and he's got a great service. I love the man as my brother, and I love Brother Chuck too, and I love you all.
Thank you. Hi, James.
Hello, Chuck and you all. I'm James from about 30 or 40 miles northwest of here, near Little York, Indiana. And with all due respect, I've read about our move on the internet. There are some members of Melbourne Heights Baptist Church. They're not exactly happy about us going to move in and now be our church. And I understand, because a lot of other Protestants, even where I went to church, an independent Christian church, they view us as, unfortunately, as a cult, a C-U-L-T,
Yeah.
a cult. But I do not see that anymore, because
You know better.
yes, because during my childhood, when riding with my parents to our grandparents' house, we would go fast here on Interstate 65, and I looked at the sign. Then it said, like it shows on a picture of a
Yes.
book we have now,
Yes.
it said Unity Temple.
It does.
It did then.
It did. It did.
And now it says Unity of Louisville.
Yes. We've moved on.
Yes.
So-
And so,
I've met a lot of the people at Melbourne Heights, and while there may be a few that are disappointed, they all, by the vast majority of those folks, are very welcoming.
good.
And we'll be able to
And-
share the space.
And like if they invite us to attend one service of theirs,
Sure.
we could invite them to attend one service of ours and just compare the two.
There'll be a lot of that.
So thank you.
Thank you,
I
James.
appreciate it.
Appreciate your call. Hello, Stella. Can you get that? Okay, very good.
I just want to express my gratitude for having people like Chuck and Mark and Gary and many other people who have been able to take on this big job, and Ray, and to spend the time and to take on that responsibility, because it's such a big responsibility for a lot of, that's going to affect so many people. And I've just been in awe at the way it's been handled, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm also really grateful for the honor of being able to work and build the meditation garden over all the years that I've been here, which has been 20 plus, maybe 25 years. And and all the people who have helped to put it together. I'd like to invite everyone before we leave here to take the opportunity to go out and maybe next when we have the cookout, be sure to go out and just see how beautiful that garden is at this time of the year. We've so enjoyed working on it, and also with, I also worked with Earth Care with Liz Essen for many years. And so I'm being an earth person and garden person. I've really enjoyed that, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella, for all the work you've done. And there will be opportunities to recreate a meditation garden or other space of that nature once we do move. The current board has done a lot of work on this whole project, but we are standing on the efforts of people who came before us. Garnett is here this afternoon, as are Todd and Mark, past board members who took a lead in pushing us in this direction. And they go back, the efforts to do this come out of a sense of community that has been built here for successive generations and for long periods of time through many ministers and a lot of people who've served well on the board. We were lucky to get Jeannie to come back for, what's a third, fourth, or fifth term. She won't tell us how many. But it's that consistent work by a lot of folks who are dedicated to being here that make this whole thing work. So, and Stella, everything that you've done and the rest of the folks on putting together the meditation garden has made that a peaceful place and has contributed mightily to our spiritual growth here. So I want to thank you for that as well. Anybody else want to make a statement or ask a question? Thank you all for coming. It was very good to see you this evening or this afternoon, and my understanding is the temperature will be much cooler in the new church once we move there. And to thank Ray and the other volunteers for putting in these 2 new units to make this a lot easier to be here today so we could hear Jerry's message. Thank you all. Go ahead. It is our custom to pray in and out. I apologize for not doing the praying out. Let's just remember that the universe is calling us to be the best that we can possibly be. And that's what we're doing today. And for this, let's all be grateful and express that gratitude by saying together, thank you, God. Let's do the Ray thing 3 times. The second one is? Third time with zeal and enthusiasm. Thanks to all of you.